Springtime 1946 was fast approaching, and there was work to be done at the Donaldson residence along with the day-to-day work at the Ritzy and Creaser store. The garden had to be tilled in preparation for seeding. The barn needed minor repairs, and so did the house. Winter had been typical for the location, some snow and some ice damage, but nothing exceptional. After shifts at the store and available weekends, the required work around the home got completed quickly. There was also time to prepare the second child's room, since Margie was almost 2 years of age and she enjoyed her own room now. The house had additional rooms, and the one next to Sarah and Charles's bedroom made an excellent room for the child on the way. Sarah started into labor on June 19th at 10:12 p.m. Charles was prepared with all the necessary items packed and by the door in the front porch. Margie was taken next door to the Wynots for the rest of the evening, since it had been prearranged well in advance. Arthur and Carla were more than pleased to help their neighbors. Charles and Sarah got in their 1941 Ford and headed to Dawson Memorial Hospital in Bridgewater. The hospital was built in 1920 and served a considerable area around Bridgewater. Sarah was looking forward to the birth of a new baby and was fully prepared. Charles was driving as fast as he could, given there were no streetlights and the possibility of hitting a deer existed. Plus, he had to try and avoid any of the many potholes that existed. They arrived at the hospital 22 minutes after leaving home. The staff immediately took over, and Charles started to relax. In the early hours of June 20th, Charles and Sarah were blessed with the birth of an 8-pound, 7-ounce boy with 10 toes and 10 fingers in perfect health. Charles was very happy since he had secretly wanted a son. Sarah was resting peacefully from the labor. Charles enjoyed holding his newborn son. After he placed him in the bassinet under the watchful eye of the duty nurse in the nursery, he looked for a place to lie down for a few hours for a much-needed rest. He found a couch and quickly went into a dead sleep for several hours. When Charles woke, he looked in on Sarah and his newborn son, and then drove back to East Le Havre to check on Margie and to let the Wynots know the good news. Arthur and Carla were very happy for Charles and Marge, and since their son Michael was only a few months older, he now would have a playmate next door. Margie was happy to have a baby brother. Next, Charles drove down to the Ritzy and Creaser store to let Elijah know of the recent birth. Elijah offered congratulations and said, "Charles, take a few days off until things begin to settle down at home." He added, "Almost all of the fleet is out on the banks now, so it is quiet at the store for the moment." Charles appreciated the kindness expressed by Elijah and the rest of the staff at the store. Charles bought some cigars and gave everyone in the store one. Charles headed home to fix lunch for Margie. Afterwards, they drove back to Bridgewater so that Margie could see her baby brother. Sarah was awake and breastfeeding the newborn. He was a hungry lad. All three discussed possible names for him. Consensus was reached with the name of Lonnie, and the name on the birth certificate was Lonnie Ross Donaldson, Ross being Sarah's maiden name. Sarah would be home in a few days, so Charles and Margie left them both resting peacefully and returned home. On the doorstep was a fruit basket and bouquet of flowers with a note of congratulations from his co-workers at the store. Life was good for the Donaldsons.